All right, good evening, everyone. Let's call the District 4 Advisory Board November meeting to order. Let's see, first order of business would be approval of the agenda for this evening's meeting. A motion?
So moved.
Who is that? Laura?
Jonathan McRoy seconds.
Jonathan seconds. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign.
Michael, you sound like you're using a voice disguiser or something. It's really weird and hard to understand, and every few words are cut out. I don't know what to do with that.
No voice disguiser here there, June. Does everybody else hear what June's hearing?
Sounds good to me.
I
hear it fine.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's just me, I guess. I'll do the best I can.
Your computer's a little spooky there, June.
I know. Tis the season.
All right.
Plus it's 2020, so, you know.
I can assure you there's not too much important that's going to come out of my mouth other than calling for motions and hitting some bullets on here. So, but if you need me to repeat anything, please shout at me. Let's see, next order of business would be approval of the minutes for last month's meeting. I know you all dug through those and they were riveting. So could I have a motion to, and Becky spent a lot of time on those. Okay, so I want an enthusiastic motion to approve the minutes for October.
Motion to approve the minutes from October. This is Sonia Brown.
All right, Sonia, we had the Sonia first one.
This is Matt Lashley. I'll second it.
Matt will second it. Outstanding. All those in favor say aye.
I
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Opposed, same sign. And we shall move on to staff reports. Who is here from fire tonight? Anyone? Fire. Fire. All right. Well, they must be busy tonight. Anyone here from PD?
Welcome to Zoom. Enter your meeting ID followed by the pound.
Well, alrighty then. Someone must be dialing in on something else. Someone's doing 2 Zoom calls at the same time?
Enter your participant ID followed by pound. Otherwise, just press pound to continue. Please enter the meeting password followed by pound.
I don't know what to do with that right now.
You are in the meeting now. There are more than 20 participants in the meeting. This meeting is being recorded. You are muted. You can mute or unmute yourself by pressing *6. You have been added to the waiting room. You cannot talk or listen until the host admits you to the meeting. You are muted. You can mute or unmute yourself by pressing *6.
All right, we know who hasn't done a Zoom call before.
That was weird.
All right, okay. Did we establish if anybody from PD was on? Patrol West, Patrol South, Paw Patrol, anybody? All right, no PD, no fire tonight. This one's gonna go real fast. But I know we can always count on a riveting report and punctual participation from Robin with the library report.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me all right?
Outstanding. We can hear you, Robin. Fire away.
Okay. So our attendance at the Alfred branch for October was 2,834 visits. And then our checkout statistics for the same month was 3,333 items. Socially distanced technology class has returned to the Advanced Learning Library this month. There's very limited seating available, but you can see on our website at wichitalibrary.org/events to register. The library is once again partnering with the Greater Wichita YMCA to offer the Cooking Matters series. It begins Tuesday, December 1st and runs through January 12th. This virtual series helps families learn to shop for and cook healthy meals on a budget. Classes include cooking demos and budget-friendly meal ideas. Residents can sign up for all or just one of the classes. If you attend 3 classes in the series and complete a survey, you'll receive a $20 grocery gift card. This class is for adults, especially parents, caregivers of kids, and pregnant women. Visit wichitalibrary.org/events to learn more and to register. November is Kansas Reads to Preschoolers Month, an initiative aimed at promoting reading to all Kansas children from birth through age 5. Tune in on Sunday, November 15th at 6:30 on the library's YouTube channel for a special Sesame Street-like video featuring educational activities from our youth services team. You can learn more at the website at wichitalibrary.org/pre-K. And then all library locations will be closed in November on Wednesday, November 11th to honor Veterans Day. We will also close early on Wednesday, November 25th at 5 p.m. And then we'll remain closed on Thursday and Friday, the 26th and 27th for Thanksgiving. And we will reopen for regular operations on Saturday, November 28th. And that's this month's report.
Thank you, Robin. Does anybody from the board have any questions or comments for Robin? Everybody gonna be jumping on to get their $20 grocery gift card by taking some classes. That sounds cool. All righty, I will take it by the unanimous silence, Robin, that everybody was just floored with your library report, and we can move on from there. You have a nice evening.
Okay, thank you. Have a good night.
You too, take care. All right. We'll move on. Did anybody from fire or PD bless us this evening? Okay. On to the public agenda, where it says we have nothing scheduled, but I believe Mr. Stark has something to tell us about, if I'm not mistaken.
Sure. So on the West Street improvements, I'm here on behalf of Bike Walk Wichita as a neighborhood connector. It's one of our new programs that we started to connect people to their neighborhoods. Anyways, we would like to see some kind of cycling and pedestrian infrastructure included with this new design, because that's a high, traffic area, etc. And we feel it would be a lot safer if we had those types of things in place, especially this side of town, because we are starved for safer cycling and pedestrian infrastructure.
Okay. Well, I think we're supposed to hear about that here in a little bit, and no disagreement there. So, anything else you'd like to add?
And you can also reach out to me too, for suggestions about these types of things for cyclists and pedestrians. So feel free to. Becky has my email. You can probably get it from her.
It's pretty dangerous to be a cyclist or a pedestrian in that area right now. With all the restriction on what's barely safe being in a vehicle right now down in that area. So anyway, hopefully we'll hear some cool stuff with our update we're going to get here on the work further to the south on West Street. Anybody else from the public have that did not request to speak on the public agenda prior may speak now.
Hello, I've got something. Can everybody hear me?
Oh, we can. Please
Go
give us.
in and out, but I'll do the best I can.
Okay. Yeah, my name is Zach Castor, and I'm a resident of Wichita. I live within District 4. I just had a question. This is my first ever DAB meeting, so I appreciate you allowing me on here. So my question stems from some information that I came across on the internet. I don't really remember where I saw it at, but the information suggested that the main fire station that services my area, I believe it's station 17. They recently had I guess for lack of a better term, a downsize in personnel, as well as maybe even a truck that has been downsized. I was wondering, is that true, or is that a rumor, or what's the deal? And if it is true, why is that taking place? Just wanting to make sure that my area has the fire service that it needs.
I know that it's true because I talked to them just the other day, and they're down from 5 firefighters to 4, and the small truck that was used for rescue or for resuscitations and things has been sent somewhere else. We discussed the reasoning behind it last meeting, but somebody besides me needs to discuss the reasoning, because it sounded like it was an experiment, perhaps a saving money attempt. I don't know, but if somebody else can address that besides me, I just can verify that they have been downsized.
Okay. I understand that Captain Heath with the fire department just logged on with us, so I wonder if he might be able to address that. Did you catch the question there, Captain Heath? Hello, fire, are you there?
I don't think so.
Well, I see his name on there.
How about now?
There he is.
Oh, got to figure out which button to push here.
Well, you found it.
Yep. Sorry, we just got back from an alarm.
No, not a problem. We always understand that you guys have better things to do than to get on here. So anyway, we just actually had a question from a resident of our district. His name is Zach. And Zach, you want to kind of summarize your question there, and we'll let fire answer that themselves.
Certainly. Hi, Captain Heath. My name is Zach. So my question is in regards to getting some echo.
Yeah, it's our alarm.
That's
turn off the flex
okay. Am I good? Am I good to ask?
Yeah.
Okay. So my question pertains to some information that I came across, which has now been confirmed regarding the downsizing of Station 17. My understanding is that they're down personnel as well as a truck, and that's the main station that serves my area. I was just wondering what the purpose of that was, and essentially I'm just wanting to confirm that my area has the proper fire protection that it needs. So thank you.
Yes, they have taken Squad 17 off track. They used to have 2 units at that station with 5 personnel. They now have 1 unit in that station with 4 personnel. Above my pay grade to tell you why. Never want to see us taking fire trucks off track personally. Not a decision that I would have done.
Okay.
To kind of follow up on that question, would you agree or disagree that there is now a lack of proper fire coverage in that area? Thank you.
You're going to get me in trouble.
That's an above pay grade question, right?
Definitely not my intention. And I understand if you don't feel comfortable answering that, but I would like to be referred to somebody who I could ask that to and get the answer.
I would say your council member's a good start. I would never personally, you never want to see us taking trucks off track. The city has already identified the area by the airport as being short on fire service, and we have taken another fire truck off track that covers. Now it's the station which I'm at, and all the way to Maple Maze, you've taken another unit off track.
have a question. Is this a permanent decision already, or is it still under review?
We were told it was a pilot program. In my 31 years, every time we lose something, we never get it back.
Okay, so
Thank you very
Zach,
much for the information. I
Zach,
appreciate that.
Zach, you get a bit of candor from Fire there, and I would definitely take your feedback and direct it towards the councilman, who I believe has already received similar feedback, and Becky, I'm sure, has notes of it as well, and but for sure follow up and voicing that opinion.
Can I ask a question on that subject as well? I know it was brought up. I brought it up at the last meeting. I've reached out multiple times to Councilman Blubaugh. I haven't received any news. Has there been any feedback or anything from the city council or from anybody in fire administration? I think I've had one correspondence in response to all this.
Hey, Becky, you have any details on this from last time? I see her on the phone.
Okay, I have Councilman Blubaugh on the line. He lost his feed. He was trying to get logged back on, but Jeff, can you hear okay?
No.
Yeah, okay. So we can hear. Okay, so Tristan, ask your question again. Mr. Block.
Yeah. Tristan sent this to me, and we've been communicating on this. And this definitely isn't a city council-led thing, and I'm still trying to get answers on it. I'm getting your emails, looking into it, but we need to have the fire chief or the city manager come forth and answer these questions, because I'm not equipped to do so. And like I said, this is something led by the chief, and she needs to answer it.
Okay.
What if I try to put this on the agenda for our next meeting? What do you think?
How would that be, Tristan?
I'm sorry, I must have cut out there. Could you repeat that, please?
If we put the meeting on, put this item on our next meeting agenda so that we
And we have the chief explain this, why she.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I would concur with that.
Very well.
Okay.
But I'll continue to try to get answers in the interim to your email. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, Jeff.
Okay, so it sounds like we've got the feedback on that topic, and the action is that we're going to add it to the agenda for the next meeting, hopefully barring something else. But anyway, I'm sure that'll progress, and just stay tuned. Okay, do we have any other agenda items to discuss, scheduled, off agenda, or otherwise, before we move on to the West Street improvements? Okay, I will take that unanimous silence as the opportunity to discuss new business now. West Street improvements from at Harry and Pawnee, and I'm not sure who's here to speak on that.
I guess I will start. My name is Sean Mace. I'm Chief Design Engineer for the City of Wichita. Can I share my screen?
I think Becky needs to give you permission.
Yeah, because they gave me a no. It won't let me do it. So I need to pull up the PowerPoint or have Becky pull up the PowerPoint and give me access to it or something so we can go through that.
Becky, you're on mute. You hear that? We can't get your feedback on that.
Yes, I'm trying to bring up the PowerPoint right now on my
Cool.
screen share here.
Okay. I just, when you're on mute, I never know if you're like,
All right.
playing Tetris or something instead. So
I'm multitasking here.
how many screens you have? 12?
No. Can people see the,
All I see is the agenda right now.
okay,
Me too.
there we go. Can you see the PowerPoint?
Just agenda.
Okay, there we go. Not now.
If you want to cheat, you can just drag and drop it to your other screen.
Now I have to actually click on what I'm trying to share. Can everyone see that? Okay. Can you see
There we
that?
go.
Oh, there we
Yes.
go.
All right.
Can we turn it to a slideshow? So you just do one slide?
Yeah, I see that fire's still on. Did you guys have a report to give us before we move on to this stuff? You're on mute. I'm not sure who's sitting there in the fire seat, but you're still on mute.
Actually, I just logged on. I was over in the District 5's meeting. It was at the same time as this one. And I came out, I just now logged into DAB 2 meeting now. So I just literally got in here. So what were you, my name is Pete Ritter. I'm battalion 2 for the day out here on the west side of town. I'm kind of, like I said, I'm
Fires
playing
on
catch up
today?
here.
Hold on a second. We have 2 fires on today?
I was having Captain Heath over at Station 12 kind of jump in for me because, like I said, I had a DAB 5 meeting at the same time, so he fielded this one until I could free up. So now I'm over here on this one now. So
Okay,
that's
hold
what
on.
the two of us.
Hold on just a second, Pete. Hey, Sean, do you mind if I pause you for just a
No,
second
no,
so I can
go
let the
ahead.
fire- Okay, because
Yep, go ahead.
skipped it first. So, and while we're still I figured while we were still figuring out the PowerPoint, I'll let fire do their deal and then we can let them move on.
Perfect.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Pete.
Okay. I pulled the numbers for October. I'm kind of in a scramble right now because we're out doing some training. I came back. I have a whole new computer sitting on the desk here with a couple monitors. So I'm kind of trying to get adjusted. So my apologies.
Just make them up, Pete.
So for District 4, we had 1 accidental fire in the district. On that fire, it looked like it was a garage fire, and I'm not sure. It just says accidental, and I don't have the dollar amount on it. My apologies. Like I said, I'm trying to juggle 2 of them here. But you had one incendiary fire call in your area, and I do not have the EMS number, the run numbers of how many medicals we ran for total numbers in the district. They were not attached to the October report when I printed it off. So basically, you had 1 actual fire call in your area, and with the time change, I hope everybody replaced their batteries and their smoke alarms and so forth. Like I said, I do apologize. I was kind of in one meeting. Now I'm jumped over the other. So is there any questions for you guys that you have for me?
Yeah, Pete, before you were on, we kind of covered some fire questions. Captain Heath was good enough to take a little bit of heat regarding some of the changes that are going on. And we're actually working to get the chief to come and address those things perhaps at the next meeting.
Okay. What
Chief
were the?
Ritter,
Yes,
Chief
sir.
Ritter, we were asked about the removal of Squad 17 and if that was a good idea. And the citizen was concerned about lack of fire protection since that's his closest firehouse.
Okay. Right now it's a pilot program, and due to the budgets and everything else that everybody faces, it's a pilot program. and they're taking numbers on it. We didn't lose personnel. We just lost an apparatus. We moved the people around to staff those apparatus. Currently, there's an engine, a fire engine that's staffed out in that at the fire station 17 with 4 members on it. There's also a brush truck, which is for wildland firefighting, as well as a tender, which is a truck that carries a large amount of water that supplies brush trucks and stuff like that. If it's a brush truck calls, the brush truck goes and the tender will shadow, supplying the water for that apparatus. And then we still have the fire suppression for the engine that's there. Now, right now, they're collecting the data and running the numbers. If one of those, you either have one or the other. You either have the setup or you have the engine. With the engine being out, there is going to be a little bit of a longer response for the stations that are in the area. I'm not sure how long the pilot program's happening. I need to get with the fire chief and ask that question, but that's pretty much what I know of that right now.
The whole meeting sounds like a CD with a crack in it, so I have missed a lot. Explain about where is the brush truck? Because it's not at 17, at least wasn't when I was there the other day. They have their regular engine, but not the little truck anymore, and 4 guys.
The brush truck, it could have been out at that point because it's fairly, they're training with it quite a bit. Last month, there was the big ditch was on fire up north. The floodway was on fire up north, and the brush truck was utilized then with the tender. It should be on track inside Station 17. When I was there earlier today, it was there as well as the tender and the engine. So that's
wow. They don't have room. They've only got 2 bays.
The brush truck goes out the front on 1 bay and then out the back of the bay. So I'm going to call it Bay 3. The tender goes out the back side of that station behind the brush truck, and then the engine pulls through Bay 4 to point out of Bay 2, going out towards Maple.
And they do that with 4 guys?
Yes, there's 4 on the engine. If it's a structure fire, the engine goes with the 4 people on the engine. They respond so they can have a 3-person fire attack with 1 person operating the engine. If it's a brush fire, 2 will jump on the brush truck, and then 2 will jump on the tender, which is the water truck that carries the water, and then they respond out to the rural areas. And so when the brush truck tank gets empty, they can come back to the tender, and the tender can fill them up. It's like a mobile hydrant, basically.
Is there any reduction? This is Rebecca Robertson. Is there any reduction in the EMTs at that station?
No, right now like I said, we have the staff with 4 people. They're all EMT credentialed through the state of Kansas and through the our director, EMT director.
Chief Ritter, my name is Tristan Block, and I was wondering. So you said there were 4 personnel at Station 17, or there were 5 before they implemented the pilot program.
Correct.
Where did they take that 5th person?
The 5th person is now over here at fire station number 16. It's on the truck. It's the truck with the big bucket on the front. It's the aerial platform.
Yep, I'm familiar with it.
Okay, they're operating 4 with that, and when that can pull up on scene, that allows us when it pulls up on a structure fire, that gives us an opportunity. We can split the crew, send 2 people in for search, and send 2 people up to vent the house to get the toxic gases and smoke out of there as fast as we can. If it's a commercial building fire, we need all 4 members up on the roof to ventilate that, to get that opened up, to get the pressure outside the building. 4-member trucks are is a more effective option on the fire ground, and that's where the extra person was over to that truck.
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, I disagree a little bit with semantics. I mean, you said District 4 only in the month of October had 1 active fire call for the entire month. You didn't have the numbers on the medicals, but I know Wichita runs about 85 to 90% medical calls, and those squads are very efficient in running those medical calls, especially considering the nursing homes around Station 17 and in our district. And I feel like we're already an area that's undercovered even with Squad 17 on track.
Yes, and I apologize for not having the numbers. When I printed off the October papers, they're normally attached to it and they are not on this one. And I just wanted to kick over as soon as I can to get involved in this meeting.
I do appreciate your time and certainly appreciate your service. I just also have my concerns for my area.
I agree totally. And like I said, that's why I just wanted to get involved in this meeting as much as I can, so I can get some questions and try to get to forward them on and get them some answers coming your guys' way.
Okay, and it sounds like they're looking to arrange a meeting, an official scheduled meeting rather than this during the public time. So for the next DAB meeting. So
Correct. Okay. Captain Heath, did you guys need to do a report out of your area as well before we go? Move on. Are you guys good?
Had basically the same printout that the chief had. We'll expand upon his fire on the 2500 block of South Everett. That was a house fire in the morning that the station here actually pulled a person out through a window and basically had a field save on. So that was the fire. Then Station 12 here was first in and pulled a guy out.
Okay.
Captain Heath, was that do you happen to know, was that was the squad first on scene or was it the engine?
Our squad was off track that day. We had a 3-man engine here on that fire.
Gotcha. Has Squad 12 been off a lot lately? I guess that's a pretty subjective question. I apologize. I won't put you on the spot.
Yeah, getting me in trouble.
Yep. So,
I get in trouble on my own. I get in trouble all by myself all the time.
Thank you, Captain Heath. Thank you, Chief Ritter. I won't ask any more questions. I'm finished. I'm sure everybody will appreciate that.
Okay, we have, I think, I hope everybody agrees we've kind of exhausted the fire stuff tonight, and we appreciate everybody's input. We had a light agenda, so it's good that we've got some important stuff to talk about here. So I'm not trying to make light of that whatsoever. Sounds like we're gonna, Councilman's aware. We're gonna try to get it on the agenda for next month, and look forward to some progress on the issue. So we'll move on from there then. Fire guys, thank you so much for joining. You're welcome to hang out and see what's going on at Pawnee and West Street if you don't know already, but Pawnee and Harry, I should say. But otherwise, we're going to move back to the new business agenda. Sean, are you ready to pick it up now again?
Yeah, I am. Thank you.
No, appreciate you letting us back up there, let the fire guys off the hook. They clearly are shorthanded and got plenty to do. So anyway, we'll move on from there. Go ahead, Sean.
Okay. Project here talking about tonight is West Street from Harry to Pawnee. Before I do that, I'll make some introductions of some of the other staff, both City of Wichita and our design consultant on this project. So if you have questions, there's a number of us here that can probably help to answer some of those. I'll start out with Gary Jansen, the city engineer. James Wagner is our project manager. He's the CIP engineer for the city of Wichita. He will, his contact information was on the letter that went out. So anybody that was notified of the meeting from the public should have James's phone number and his email address. So if you have questions that you think about after the meeting's over or something, feel free to reach out to him. From our design consultant team, it's Trans Systems, the design consultant for this project, and Brett Lukowski and Michael Bailey are both on here from Trans Systems. So can we go on the next slide, please? Oh, maybe I have access to it. Okay. This map here is from the comprehensive investment plan. So this is the long range plan that the planning department puts together. Run through a little bit here. The red line that you see on the map is the West Street corridor, and that goes from Kellogg all the way down to the 47th Street that's highlighted here in the red. This shows where they project new residential and commercial and industrial areas to happen through the 2035 time span, as you see there on the upper left. That's the time span it's looking at. So the existing color, I don't know, existing colors you see here, yellow and blue and green, those are just the existing land use, different land uses in the area. So the yellow is residential, the pink color is commercial, the purple is industrial. One of the things I want to mainly point out here with this map, you can see the new residential and employment mixed is the hatched with both dark and light brown or tan. The new employment is the darker area, and you'll notice the West Street corridor in particular here, all the way from Kellogg to 47th Street, has some of that, either the mix or new employment center. So this is one of the locations that has been identified as a potential area of growth, quite frankly, significant growth for employment in the Wichita area. I talk a little bit about projects that have happened. Obviously, Kellogg and 235 was recently completed in the last handful of years. The section of West Street from Harry to Kellogg is under construction right now, and that takes it from a 4-lane to a 5-lane. Project we're talking about now is West Street from Harry to Pawnee, which reconstructs the intersection there at Pawnee and Southwest Boulevard and West Street, where they all come together. We have future projects that take West Street from 235 going south down to 47th Street. And so that's part of the reason for that, is because you see the new employment identified here. And quite frankly, it's part of the reason both the project we're here to talk about tonight and the one south of 235 both have federal money in them. Next slide, please. Give you a little bit of background on where this project, when it started and kind of what's taking place. If you look at this date, the April 17th, 2018. So we started this quite some time ago, looking at different options. And the big part of this that makes this much more complex than a standard project is the intersection at the south end, where you have the three major roads coming together, with Southwest Boulevard, Pawnee, and West Street all coming together. So what we did on April 17th, the city council, or what happened there, the city council approved the original design contract with Trans-System to start looking at a design concept. On April 4th, 2020, we actually looked at a number of different things as far as the concepts, and we'll actually show them a little bit here later, some of them. There was enough of them that we actually needed to do a little more modeling. So that's what that was, a supplemental agreement to do a little bit more modeling on some of the more in-depth concepts once we got to this point. And like the last bullet points out there, Trans-Systems looked at a number of different options here. We have actually met on a couple different occasions with some of the large users in and around this area. Some of them aren't necessarily on West Street, but they go through the intersections either of West, Southwest Boulevard, or Pawnee. And so we met with them on a couple different occasions, and the big part of the reason we met with them directly was because of some of the large vehicles they have going through there and some of the concepts. We needed to make sure that we knew what they were taking through there, what they could make work, what their standard routing was. So we understood that. So we knew what turns had to be made and what radiuses we really had to look at for some of the larger vehicles. And with that, I will turn it over to Brett Lukowski with Trans-Systems to start going into some of the concepts. Brett, are you there?
We're here. We lost you for a minute, though.
Okay, sorry, I was gonna turn it over to Brett Lukowski to talk about some of the design concepts here.
Brett needs to unmute.
Yeah, I can't hear him.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you, Brett.
Yeah, you're
Okay.
here.
Yes,
you're
in. Technical difficulty, sorry about that. So this first slide, this is just showing the project location. Sean did a nice job of explaining that and the current projects that are being constructed around the area. So we can move on to the next slide. This is just kind of showing the overall intersection. There's two major roads from the east that merge at the intersection and continue on to the west, that being Pawnee and Southwest Boulevard. The intersection of West Street, Southwest Boulevard, and Pawnee is difficult to navigate, especially for the large trucks. And obviously there's a lot of them in that area because we're in an industrial area. I'm going to talk more about this. There's just a lot of challenges at this intersection with those signals so close. But one thing I'm going to point out, and you're going to hear this a couple times from me today, the lowest volume of traffic is actually on Southwest Boulevard, going north and east of West Street and the intersection of Pawnee. So I'm going to talk more about that here in a few minutes. If you want to go on to the next slide. With the two signals so close to one another, this is a typical issue that you see down there every day. That truck's really utilizing all three lanes to try to make that turn off of Pawnee to go either north on West Street or potentially west on Southwest Boulevard. There are dedicated left turn lanes at the intersection, but they've got limited storage capacity, and so it just makes it a very congested intersection. We can go on to the next slide. So the city staff has evaluated the pavement on West Street all the way up to Harry Street. It's actually in pretty good shape. We believe approximately 90% of that pavement can be utilized to help reduce cost. There will be some panels that will need to be replaced, but that's just carrying the project all the way up to Harry Street. So we can move on to the next slide. So this is kind of just showing the direction of travel the traffic's taking. The heaviest movement is north-south on West Street. The second largest movement, but the more complicated movement, is the movement from Pawnee going westbound to continue westbound on Southwest Boulevard. That's really what causes a lot of the congestion in that intersection. As I mentioned, Southwest Boulevard to the north and east is the lowest movement. So that the biggest challenge is handling that Pawnee traffic. As Sean mentioned, we did meet with a lot of stakeholders and users in this area, finding out what size their trucks were, what direction they were coming in and out of the intersection. And then after we developed our concepts, we sat back down with them again, showed them our concepts to make sure that they were comfortable that this intersection would work. So we can go on to the next slide. So let's talk about some of the options we looked at. We looked at a single lane roundabout. But because there's so many entry and exit legs, that roundabout got very, very large. And it got beyond the design criteria that we could make it a safe roundabout. The speeds inside the roundabout were far in excess of our design criteria. It was also difficult for two trucks to negotiate the roundabout at the same time if they were next to one another. So then we moved on to this dual lane roundabout, but it had the same safety issues. Design speeds were too high, too many intersections, entry and exit legs. Neither one were very truck friendly, large truck friendly. Both of these options would have caused significant road closures to try to construct. Signing would have been very difficult and confusing to the traveling public. And the other comment I want to make is with the Kano Railroad just east of the tracks on Pawnee, when when they're switching during a peak, either the AM or PM peak hour, we felt like when in our modeling and looking at this, that traffic could actually be backed up all the way into the intersection and absolutely locking this intersection up. So that really wasn't a good option. I will make a quick side note. City staff was able to work with K&O and Oxy Chemical for Oxy Chemical to get a grant from KDOT to build a new siding out near the Oxy Chemical plant. So all their rail cars will be stored out near their facilities, which will greatly reduce a lot of the switching across Pawnee and significantly less time of the railroad gates being down. So that's going to be a good thing that's happening right now, but that is still part of the impact and analysis of our intersection. We can move on to the next slide. So these are the same concepts with some small variations. We still have the two signals at West Street and Southwest Boulevard and West Street and Pawnee. But it also introduces a third signal where we take westbound Pawnee traffic and we divert it up to Southwest Boulevard. All these signals would be operated by one controller and would be all synchronized to operate together. This concept handled the traffic very well, but it really didn't meet driver expectancy because that westbound Pawnee is diverted north to Southwest Boulevard. It did handle the large trucks well, but on the properties on Pawnee, just immediately east of West Street, that is an eastbound movement only. That's shown you on the figure on the left. The figure on the right, we made it so that it was two eastbound, westbound, but it is a cul-de-sac and does not connect into West Street. We felt like that was going to make it difficult and confusing for drivers how to get to those properties. So we looked at another option. So if you can go on to the next slide. So this is our preferred concept. This concept does a better job of meeting driver expectancy. It allows the two heaviest movements, east and west and north and south, to not be diverted, be able to just go straight through. And as I've mentioned already, the traffic on Southwest Boulevard, the volumes are the lowest of each roadway. We've only have one signal at West Street in Pawnee, and then we have a second partial signal where Southwest Boulevard tees into Pawnee. Now, eastbound traffic on Pawnee does not stop at that signal. It will be stopped at West Street, but that next signal at Southwest Boulevard and Pawnee, it's called a continuous green T intersection. So that eastbound movement continues, it will always have a green light. The Southwest Boulevard trafficway will come into that signal, but if they'll be able to turn right as long as there's a gap in Pawnee, or if the leftbound movement to Southwest Boulevard, when they have that green light, then the Southwest Boulevard traffic would have a green light as well to be able to continue through there. This option really handled the big truck really well. It really meets driver expectancy and had the lowest delay times of all the options that we managed or we evaluated. So we can go on to the next slide. So these are several of the goals that we had is to make the improvements into the intersection. One really doesn't meet our goals. Two, it partially meets our goal, but not fully. And then three, fully meets our goals. And so when we looked at those two options that split Pawnee Avenue and then the continuous green really did a better job of scoring and meeting the goals of our project. You can go on to the next slide. This is just showing the north of the intersection. I'll point out north is to the right of the slide now. This is showing just the rest of the pavement up to Harry Street, be 5 lanes just as we're constructing north of Harry Street today. And as I also mentioned, we're going to be able to utilize a good piece of this existing pavement to help save costs. Next slide. And this is the whole project. Just again, north is to the right of the slide, but just want to give you an aerial view of kind of what you're looking at. So West Street's running left and right across that image. So just wanted to show the rest of that project. And we can go to the next slide, and I will turn it back over to Sean.
Thank you, Brett. So what's next? What's upcoming? After this meeting, we will go to the city council on December 15th. And then we're looking at starting construction in 2024. The federal money is in 2023 and 2024. So that means we have to have the project obligated by October roughly of 2023. Based on where we're at and getting utilities relocated, that's probably the best case for us is starting the project in 2024, the spring of 2024 when it warms up enough to do it. So next slide. The existing budget here, what we've got approved so far is $265,000. The adopted 2021 to 2030 capital improvement, or the CIP, includes 500,000 in 2021, a million in 2022, and roughly we'll call it 5.5 million for 2023 and 2024. Of the $11 million in 23 and 24, almost 8 of that is federal funding. The city was awarded through the Metropolitan through WAMPO. So the total budget of the project is estimated to be just over $13 million. Next slide. The staff recommendation is to approve the design concept as we presented it tonight. Before I go to the next slide and open it up for questions, I think Chris did ask about bike facilities in here. I guess part of it would like to hear what his thought is, where that's supposed to be. Based on the bike master plan, what we saw looking at that was there was something in Southwest Boulevard or the old railroad right of way, in particular where it goes south and west from West Street. But what type of connection we're looking at through there. Going to the 5-lane with right of way, probably both on Pawnee and on West Street is going to be tricky. Not say we can't do it. We can obviously take a look at that. What we are proposing is 6-foot wide sidewalks on both stretches. You go to the 10-foot wide multi-use path, and that becomes a little trickier with not only finding room for the 10-foot wide, but then it also has to be ADA compliant. So you're looking at another 4 feet that's at 2%. Just grade wise, it makes it harder to work too. So it's not just about the 10-foot being able to work in there. The section north of here, the project is under construction right now. It's just got sidewalk on it. So that's what we're tying into. But with that, I'll turn it over for any questions anybody may have.
Hey, Michael, this is Matt Lashley. Hey, had a question real quick. What is the estimated completion date on that, 2024?
We're probably looking at 18 months, so it's probably 2025.
All the way down to 47th Street?
No. That is just the section we talked about tonight.
Okay.
The other projects are programmed in. They're actually both, we're getting ready to, in 2021, we're looking at starting design on those, on the next 2 pieces, which would be from 235 to MacArthur and then MacArthur down to 47th Street.
Has there been anything from 235 to MacArthur looked at on the amount of truck traffic that goes through there?
No, again, that's the part that we're looking at starting a design here pretty soon.
Okay.
I have a question. Has there been anything looked at on the pavement on Pawnee from West Street to Meridian?
No, from West Street to Meridian, no, that would for the most part be outside the limits. Obviously, for the intersection stuff, we'll have to remove and replace some of it. A decent portion of the intersection here has to get replaced because of some of the realignment.
Has there been anything looked at in the future budget on that mile stretch there from West Street to Meridian? Though I drive it fairly often, and it is just unbelievable.
I can help answer that. This is Gary Jansen. I agree, there's some challenges. The biggest challenge with that stretch of Pawnee is drainage. And without undertaking a major drainage project, that pavement's going to continue to struggle no matter what we do there. And I don't say this to try to make you feel better, but I can send you to quite a few places in the city where the pavement is worse. And the only reason why I say that is because we've got over 5,300 lane miles of pavement in the city, and we have fairly limited resources. So we've got a model that prioritizes pavement repairs across the city. One thing we can do is check and see. It's possible that we may have some pavement repairs programmed. I don't have that in front of me, but we can find out and provide that information to the board. That would not happen with this project. There's nothing in our capital improvement program that would do anything for complete reconstruction of Pawnee, but it's possible that we may have some pavement repairs in there. And my comment about the drainage doesn't mean we're giving up on it, but until we can get to the point of having the resources to fix the drainage issues down there, that pavement is going to continue to struggle. But I'll let Becky know if we've got anything in the plan.
I imagine with the truck traffic that you have in through there, it's difficult to keep it nice, really.
Well, we can design pavement to accommodate truck traffic, and we do it every day. That's, it's what we've done on West Street, and it works. It's not being able to get the water to go away. As you know, Wichita's flat, just like most of Kansas is. And we unfortunately are dealing with past development that's hard to overcome now.
Right.
Guys, this has been something that I've been pushing for several years now. I mean, I think it's like 5 or 6 years that I've been pushing this for, trying to find the money for it. As large as our district is, I think this is the biggest bottleneck we have right now. You don't literally have cars going 7 different directions there. It's a safety issue. And it's, I think, our greatest opportunity for industrial growth, for more residential growth in that area. West Street, the land is pretty much taken up for any additional industrial growth. So I'm hoping this will allow us to be able to go south of that intersection, down to MacArthur, like Matt was talking about. And I really think it's a great opportunity, and I'm very excited that we'll be able to utilize federal funds for it. I realize there's a lot of other needs in the city, but this is an opportunity where it's not all coming out of the city coffers. So looking for any kind of feedback, anybody that, I don't drive this every day, but I'd get a lot of feedback about it, and just mostly looking for any issues you guys see with the flow of traffic through here. Somebody tell me if they drive this every day and they think this sounds feasible. Just looking for some user information. If anybody's got it on my DAB, I'd appreciate it.
Hey, this is Jonathan McRoy. So what I was wondering in the presentation, I just want to know, this seems like a good opportunity for improvement, like the councilman said. One of the things that I have a slight concern about, Joe, though, is just, our stakeholders, our manufacturers in that area, if, how much this is going to impact their logistics and supply chain, and if they've had an opportunity to provide some input in that area.
Again, I will tell you that we have met with a number of the larger users in this area. And I don't have the list right in front of me, but a number of the large users within this area, because they had the oversized loads, we did meet with them. They understand what some of the concepts we're looking at were, so they understand what's coming down the road.
I own a business right there on that street. I take it 5 times a day, and that intersection causes a lot of problems for efficiency, for sure. I would definitely be on board for that.
This is Jonathan McRoy again. I just want to make sure that, we do our due diligence in making sure that our businesses in that area have some input in the process, just so that way, their operations aren't adversely impacted.
Yeah, and we did invite a number of the businesses within this area and the surrounding area, to be quite frank. So not just on West Street, to this meeting, to the the city council meeting that I mentioned previously in December. So they are aware of a couple different opportunities they have to provide stuff. They also have our project manager, James Wagner, his contact information. They can reach out to him if they see issues with it, with our proposed concept, and we can address those or adjust anything we need to try to address their concerns.
Copy that. Thanks.
John, this is Alan Kaler.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you won't be surprised. I agree with Chris's comments earlier. And you asked some questions about any specific ideas there. Obviously, it is a complicated intersection, and there's a lot of industrial traffic there. So I think it's great to be doing something with it. All in favor of a redesign there. Just a couple of thoughts. I don't know whether there's anything that you can do on the Pawnee through to westbound K42 or not. That's not really the Pawnee is not really your focus. I mean, the east-west traffic all the way through on Pawnee is not really your focus. So anything you do there wouldn't go very far. I will say on the K42 side, it would be great to add a shoulder in both directions there, a paved shoulder, and it's basically dirt right now and rocks. It'd be great to have a paved shoulder. I know that won't extend very far under this project, but at least provide for it to get through there, because there is extremely few ways to get through past 235 on a bike. But more to the point, more in the project area, which is West Street. As you say, I realize it's very industrial, but that also means that there are a lot of workers there, many of whom ride their bikes to work, at night and early in the morning. And West Street has been one of the areas where there has been some fatalities and crashes, not in this stretch right here, but nevertheless the same sort of area. I think I think what you said was that the sidewalks would be the size would be increased to 6 feet. I don't think they are now, are they?
No, they would not be. That is our standard currently, though, with any arterial.
Yeah. Okay. I
If we
think
can make it work, we will go to 6 foot wide. Yeah.
I think that's great, and I understand the constraints with the space, to the extent that it would be possible to do a 10 foot even on one side. It would be better if that were possible, but I don't know the dimensions there, so just ask you to look at that, see if that's possible.
Yeah, the West Street we can definitely take a look at. Southwest Boulevard, if we're just talking about getting through, that's probably not that big a deal.
Yeah.
Just to get through where you have it here. Obviously, the shoulder would transition because it's going to go down to Pawnee, what the concept looked like, and we'd have to go through the intersection. So it would be a 10 foot wide path or something through that area, but that's mainly right away anyway. So that's probably not that big a deal. But that's something we'll have to look at too, how best to get that through the intersection.
Let me break in for 1 second. This is James Wagner. Alan, our concept does show having walk go up that direction.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we've looked at it in any great detail. Right away is not too big of an issue on Southwest Boulevard at this point.
Yeah.
So that's something that we're going to look into as we go along with this. Like you say, it's not going to go anywhere for the time being, but but we are looking at that 6 foot on each side on West Street is probably, from what I can tell, all that's going to be attainable unless you start buying right away down the whole stretch.
Yeah, no, I mean, I understand the constraints and whatever you can do on that. But it's more specifically, the 5-lane configuration makes a lot of sense for traffic flow. And I understand there's not a lot of, if you will, retail kind of business along there, but there is some. I think we would need to look at where there is likely to be any pedestrian cross traffic there and see whether or not we need to be putting in some medians or crossing treatments through there. And I'm sorry, I don't know off the top of my head exactly what's there, but I think it's likely that there are a few of the, especially on the intersections there, where it would be extremely useful from a safety standpoint to have, like I say, a pedestrian island or median or something.
Yeah,
So-
we're going to look at that, but we do have it in place to have crossings there at the intersections as well. But yeah, looking at medians as well, we could try to do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, crossings is one thing, but still crossing a 5-lane street is somewhat intimidating. So
No, I understand that, and this gets real big with the turning lanes as well. So,
yeah. Okay.
Hey, this is Grant. I have a question back on the sidewalks. I understand somebody said that there's quite a bit of bicycle traffic in that area. Are bicycles allowed on those sidewalks?
Yes, outside of the downtown area, they're allowed on sidewalks. But that's one of the reasons, there is obviously some potential interference between the bikes and pedestrians there. So that's one of the reasons a 10-foot wide would be better.
Are we allowed to dedicate with a stripe on that sidewalk, a bicycle lane?
This is Gary Jansen. I might add a little bit to this real quick. I would be cautious for anybody to think that there's a lot of bicycle traffic in this area, because there's not. That doesn't mean that we don't want to promote the use or do what we can to help those that want to use it. But I can tell you, we've been around long enough to know that in a very, very heavy commercial industrial area, people just aren't going to go there. That we know there's people that want to go on Southwest, on K42. We know there's people that want to connect up to Kellogg, and we're going to do everything we can to accommodate that. But I can tell you, we don't have the ability nor the funding to make this the primary focus of the project. And I know nobody's proposing that. I just heard the comment. I want to make sure everybody knows the bicycle use in this area is not heavy, and it's never going to be, because of the complexity of the area, the adjacent land use, and the type of intersection that it is. But we'll do everything that we can. I think if we can make the space to put in a 10-foot path on one side, that's what the bicycle master plan recommends. We typically don't put any markings on those. That width is considered a shared use path because there's enough room for pedestrians and bicyclists both. So these are all great comments. We'll do everything we can to fit in what we can, but I will tell you, there comes a time here, especially on a project like this, that to do any more than what we're looking at doing, not that we don't want to accommodate pedestrians, we're talking about starting to look at buying properties just to be able to accommodate pedestrians in an area that is most likely not going to see a lot of pedestrian or bicycle use.
Gary, just to be clear, I said at the beginning, I agree, there's not a lot of, if you will, recreational bike traffic. What I was concerned about is that there are a fair number of people who are riding their bike to work there, just by the nature of the type of jobs that are around there. I've seen a number of them there. And from a pedestrian standpoint, as I said, I was just asking that we take a look at where there is potential for pedestrian crossings across West Street, and to make sure that if there are areas where there's likely to be appreciable pedestrian crossings, to make sure that they're safe.
We can do that over time, and what we've talked to the businesses out there. To be honest with you, Alan, that's the very first time I've heard anybody say about any of those businesses having a desire to accommodate bikes or pedestrians crossing And it's generally because of the very nature of it. There's almost no retail out there. This is all commercial and industrial. I don't doubt at all that people ride their bikes, but so far we've seen no evidence of that. But I appreciate you bringing it up, and we'll take a closer look and see. And if we need to have more outreach to the businesses, we will.
Okay, good discussion, folks. I will bring it back to the board, I think. I think we've got all the feedback from the bike and pedestrian folks. If anybody else has any input to provide as far as the design concept or whatnot, now would be a good time to bring that up before we look for a motion.
I just wanted to bring up one point. I appreciate Chris and the guys discussing the opportunity for bike, because there is that old railroad right of way that's in there. And Gary, could we at least look into that to see if there is something that's easily accessible with that railroad right of way, just for future use, and at least maybe have some kind of, if we could at least gain the right of way. I know this isn't part of the project right now, but we at least maybe lay it out to see if there's something that would be an opportunity since we're building it now.
Yeah, anything, sure, we'll look at it. Anything we get into right now is going to be outside of our project limits, even look at the railroad right away. We obviously want to look to the future and not pin ourselves in here and build something that isn't, really usable or has good connectivity in the future. So we'll take a look at that. I hope nobody got the indication I said we're not going to do anything. There's just going to be some real challenges. And I don't want anybody to think that it's going to happen real easy, especially through an intersection like this. Our first goal is to make sure that traffic can work efficiently and better than it has. But yeah, we'll take a look. Some of the old abandoned railroad right-of-way typically can work to some extent, but some of the ownership gets a little hairy. But yes, sir, we will certainly do that.
Okay, I understand Vince has his hand up for a question. You're on mute. Hello, Vincent.
And by living near Friends University, it made perfect sense for me to ride to this intersection on a routine basis. So I'm one of the weird ones that did park just a block away from that McDonald's. And from the preliminary design, this looks like we are definitely on the right track towards being able to find a way for all what I'll call 4 levels of traffic: bike, ped, compare bicycle and pedestrian, and regular vehicle and semi, all coming together here. It's been a pain for a long, long time. Everybody just has to have their patience hat on, but this design does look like it's definitely moving in the right direction.
Okay, thanks, Vince.
I appreciate that. And I might add just one last time that, the proposed configuration that we've come up with really does provide the best opportunity for alignment for pedestrian and bicycle crossings at the signals. Even with all the lanes we've got there, this is not unusual for some of our bigger intersections around town. As long as you can get to the signal, you can get across safely. So I think that it's never going to be perfect or ideal for every type of user, but considering the area that we're looking at and having to deal with such large volumes of trucks and large vehicles, I think what we have is going to do a really good job of accommodating both pedestrians, and we'll take a look to see if we can provide it some wider width for the bicycles also.
At least on maybe one side of the street, right?
Yeah, and that's typically our goal. To try to get 2 10-foot paths in there is almost impossible in those situations. We'll see what we can do. We don't want to put people too close to the street, and I have no idea. Brett might say that there's already no space, but we'll take a look and see. And I'll be presenting this to the city council on December 15th for their consideration of the design concept, pending your recommendation tonight. And we'll try to see if we can have a better idea by then of what that might look like for width going through the intersection.
Well, driving that area down in there, like I said, I do. Your proposal you guys have looks awesome. That should be really nice.
Okay, can I bring it back to the board for a motion, please?
This is Matt
This is
Lashley. I'll make a motion.
Dalton. Okay, this is Dalton.
I got Matt, I got Dalton, somebody else. Y'all were stepping all over each other.
Jonathan McRoy, second.
Who was our first, Matt?
We'll go with that.
All right, we'll go with that. We had Matt, was it a motion to approve the design concept?
That is correct, sir.
Jonathan, you seconded that.
That's correct, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. All those in favor say.
Sounds like the dog agreed.
Yeah, all I heard was a dog agrees. Can I get a wave, an aye from the board on that?
Aye.
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 And opposed, same sign. Give it a moment. Okay, it sounds like it passed unanimously. Thanks, everyone from planning and whatnot. It looks like a interesting concept. I am a daily user as my business is located at Harry and West, so I am dealing with that nightmare daily right now. Anyway, look forward to all those fun things being done in the future. So thanks, everyone. And we shall move on to the board agenda, everyone. This would be the chance for the council member, Councilman Bluebaugh, to share a few words about what's going on in City Hall, City Council, all that fun stuff right now. So take it away, Jeff.
All right. Thank you, Michael. Hey, I want to give a shout out to everybody that helped with the neighborhood association or with the cleanup this weekend. Had a great turnout. So many kids out there from West High, and Becky, hats off to you for organizing all that. I'm still waiting to hear what the final numbers are. I think we might have got a record number of mattresses. I know it was over 100. Josh Blick, I know you're listening here. You contributed and helped out. You and your son Pearson. Appreciate just everybody stepping up. And I would love to do this again, probably earlier in the year, but I've always thought neighborhood cleanups are our biggest bang for the buck. Just really had people getting their stuff out there and getting rid of it. And we get so many complaints with animals and stuff in people's backyard. And a lot of it's just because they get around the trash and everything. So again, thank you so much. Tomorrow's a big day, maybe one of the biggest news days we'll ever see in our lives with the election. My thoughts are, I just hope however it goes, it's a landslide one way or another, just because this country seems so torn right now and people just aren't coming together. And the last thing I want to see is a close election that people don't believe that the results went one way or another. So I'm just glad we're here in Wichita, where I don't see where anybody will be so upset they'll be burning buildings down or riots or anything like that. So I appreciate everybody, and please vote for the best candidates that you believe best represent how you want to see your city, county, state, and country.
Thank you, Councilman. And does anybody else on the board have anything they'd like to bring up, discuss, or whatnot at this time? Activities, events, resources, issues, concerns, complaints, any of those good things from the board?
Well,
Everything. Go ahead.
Chairman, this is Grant. I do have a concern, but with the budget the way that it is, we live out in the Park Edition, which is south of Kellogg, just south of Pawnee Prairie Park area. And we live on Yosemite, which is the thoroughfare. It's a snow emergency road coming through the area. And I've been out doing a lot of yard work here, but this has been going on for years. And I don't know if there's anything that can be addressed, or if one of you guys can tell me who I need to address, but I didn't buy my home or have my home built in here to live on Kellogg or the Turnpike with cars going by in a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit zone at 60 to 70 miles an hour on some of them. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And since we are the only paved thoroughfare from Mays to Tyler, besides Kellogg and K42, this becomes a route that a lot of people want to make their journey from either Tyler Road to Mays Road or vice versa. And I know speed bumps have been ruled out, but we've got people walking this street all the time through the neighborhood out to Tyler Road and back, because there's a section of Yosemite that goes down through the airport's property there and has the Wichita Wild on the north side of it, and the airport's land that they have on the south, but it's all wide open wildlife reserve areas. So that open stretch, it just invites these cars to just pedal to the metal, and it continues on in through the neighborhood, or they start getting up to that speed as they're coming through the neighborhood. And so I guess my question, Jeff, would be to you, maybe, and to you, Mr. Chairman, is there anything that you guys can suggest, or something that maybe can be looked at to try to control this a little bit? I know we've got speeding goes on all over the place, but we have kind of a unique situation here, being the snow emergency route and also the only paved thoroughfare between Kellogg and K42.
I wish Gary Jansen wouldn't have just gotten off the video. I'm looking for him. I don't think he's on there, because he's definitely the one that could have given us the best answers in this. Honestly, this is the first time I've ever heard of it. Is the issue too much traffic? Is that what you're thinking, or too fast to traffic? What's your major concerns there, Grant?
Well, kind of both, Jeff.
Okay. Well,
I know there was a proposal, I think, made years ago to pave 31st Street South, but we had a fairly wealthy businessman that built a very expensive house over off of 31st Street South, and I think there was enough flack on looking into seriously doing that from him. That's rumor, anyhow, that I heard. I've lived out here for 27 years now, so that never got accomplished. But
Becky, could you get with Gary, and could we set up some speed counts to begin with? And do you want us to do some more traffic control over there too, Grant?
I would. It's getting cold for it, kind of cold for it now, but a couple of motorcycle police officers would have a heyday writing tickets in here,
Okay.
especially if they did it the right way. And I wouldn't be trying to tell them how to do their job, but if they could get them pulled over and off the main road, where people couldn't see them, the next one coming through wouldn't see somebody pulled over and probably would come blasting past again, as well. So
Yeah, maybe we can get it set up in your garage there, and they can walk them when they go
Well,
by.
they could sure come in and hide behind my row of trees there if they wanted to, but they actually did a traffic count, put one of those boxes up on the light pole, but the officer, this was back during the summertime, the officer that talked with me about it thought that somebody hadn't cleared something out correctly or whatever, because the numbers were way off. So
Okay. Well, I see Becky writing down, so we'll get with PD, we'll get with traffic engineers, and I guess everybody else listening, don't be driving fast through there in front of Grant's house, or you might
Hey,
get
Jeff, I don't, 30, 40 miles an hour.
right. No, it's too fast for that area.
I know people are in a hurry, but man, 60 or better sometimes, it's just crazy.
Yeah, I haven't. Has that been going on for? Because I used to take that route quite a bit. I haven't recently, but is that something new or has it just always happened?
No, it's been going on for a long time.
Hey, Grant, are there specific times of the day that this occurs?
Well, yeah, mainly when people are going to work and coming home from work, but actually, to be honest with you today, the two that came by that had to be in excess of 60 miles an hour were just maybe about the time kids got out of school or something right in there, you know, so.
Becky, while you're taking notes too, I just want to pass something along in front of you. At the cleanup, some of the West High kids, I did hear them saying that a lot of the kids are drag racing on Hoover directly south of K42. They meet up there on the south end of town and they all kind of parade over there because there's not a lot of residents and it's, kind of an industrial area, not a lot of police patrols over there, and don't want to rain on their parade, but that's pretty dangerous if there's high schoolers out there drag racing or anybody else.
Now, police have been trying to catch these, and they've been successful on some of them, but drag racing off of Hoover has been going on for years now.
Long time.
Yeah, and they, as soon as they catch some, then there's like a new crop that appears. So.
They made the pavement too nice there, Jeff.
Yeah, right. All right. Well, thank you very much, Grant.
Thank you very much for looking into that for me, guys.
Anything else from the board? All right. If that's about it, then I will looking for a motion from someone to adjourn.
My mom wasn't like.
Sorry, I didn't hear who that was.
Jonathan McRoy, I move to adjourn.
Thank you. I got a motion from Jonathan to adjourn. Do I have a second?
I will second that, Chairman. This is Grant.
Grant, is there just a second? All those in favor, wave, say aye.
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 I can't imagine anybody's opposing. All right, so thank you very much, everyone. Good discussion tonight on the fire issue, on the West Street improvements and all that good stuff. So productive meeting, and thanks everyone for attending, and we will see you in a month.
Everybody go vote tomorrow.
I'll be at Westlink Church of Christ, so you can come visit me.
Thank you, everybody.
Good night,
Take
everyone.
care, everyone.
Good night.